We are back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, so you know what we are about to do here this evening. Thank you so much to everybody who's already jumped in to the live chat. They hit the like button. They've jumped in and become a member of, a participant of the best live chat on this side of the universe. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in on tonight. I got a lot of stuff I want to get off my chest. I got a lot of stuff I want to say, a lot of stuff I want to put out there, and we're gonna theorize and play around with some things. We got some good topics on this evening. So I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you to everybody who stopped by on tonight. Now, I want to shout out to Donald Trump and JD Vance. And you're like, okay, why are you pulling out Trump and Vance, Jason? What's going on there? I want to shout them out because you know what? They've been watching my channel. They've been watching Dear Woke Christian. I don't know, Trump somewhere on Air Force Trump or JD Vance sometime, whenever they're watching DWC. I have proof and evidence. If Fani Willis and the Fulton County DAs have evidence that Young Thug is a RICO participant, then I got proof and evidence. Actually, I got more proof and evidence that JD Vance and Donald Trump watch my channel. I'm telling you. You know what? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. I'm gonna prove to you they be watching what's going on over here. Watch this.
Look, all he said is that Kamala Harris is a chameleon. She goes to Georgia 2 days ago. She was raised in Canada. She puts on a fake Southern accent. She is everything to everybody, and she pretends to be somebody different depending on which audience she's in front of. I think it's totally reasonable for the president to call that out, and that's all he did.
Y'all see it? Where did y'all see it? In the chat, real quick. Tell me why I said that Donald Trump and JD Vance have been listening to Dear Woke Christian. Just tell me why you think I've said that based upon this clip that we just watched. I'm gonna back it up and play it again real quick and make sure everybody, of course, heard it. Tell me why is Dear Woke Christian saying that they've been watching?
Raised in Canada, she puts on a fake Southern accent. She is everything to everybody, and she pretends to be somebody different depending on which audience she's in front of. I think it's totally reasonable for the president to call that out, and that's all he did.
All right.
Tonight.
Oh, sorry about that. That's the second part of the video. Sorry to back that up a little taste. Why? Why did I say that Mr. Vance, Mr. Trump, the RNC, Team 47, why did I say they've been listening to Dear Woke Christian? You know why? Because I have said multiple times, they need to do a press conference every single week. Shout out to Editor Jason. I need you to go back through Editor Jason, and I need you to add that to this clip. So find it, Editor Jason, where you said that they should do a press conference every single week from the border, because that's where JD Vance is. And they should do a press conference every week from the border. They could be talking about whatever, but they should be doing it from the border. That's it. And they did it. The RNC be listening to your boy. Now, they need to run your boy a couple dollars, though. Help a brother out now. Look, help a brother out. I'll take consulting fees. Come on, we can work this out. What am I, a contractor? I'll be a freelance contractor. Help your boy out, for real. But they've been following me. Again, I told them to do the gas station thing. I told them to do the grocery store thing. Y'all remember me saying that. Your boy, they listening to your guy. And I think that's cool. Shout out to JD Vance and Donald Trump. Shout out to them. Let's make it happen. Now, I know, look, there are a lot of great ideas out there. Shout out to them for this. I think this is a fantastic way to bring attention to the issue at hand, which is the border. The border is probably one of the primary issues on this election cycle. Whatever you want to say about what's going on in Ukraine, whatever you want to say about fentanyl, whatever you want to say about the economy, I think the border, a lot of those things really tie into the border issue. Not necessarily Ukraine, but yeah, sort of, kind of. So shout out to them. Hopefully they'll be able to get this message out there. Shout out to them. So yeah, help your boy out though. Advance, help your boy out, man. I want one of those cool shirts too, by the way. Let's go ahead and talk about it now. I make no qualms about it. I don't support Charlamagne, the false god. He's a radio host in New York, very popular in the urban hip hop rap genre. He's very, very popular. for whatever reason, I don't know why the fates just keep tapping him as an intellectual thought leader. And to me, they're bankrupting themselves. The other day on Charlamagne's show, it's called The Breakfast Club. And you can't actually even critique The Breakfast Club because they'll copyright strike you. So you kind of already know how they get down. So they're not open to critique. They're not open to criticism. But I digress. I'm no longer going to call him Charlamagne the false god. I'm going to call him Char Char. So Char Char on his show the other day, a black man called in and pushed back very, very hard about this notion that Kamala Harris is a black woman. And I think it hurt Char Char's feelings so bad that he had to run to CNN and do like a little conversation on CNN in order to, I guess, make his feelings right or something, make him feel better inside or something. I don't know. So we're going to look at this real quick. And again, shout out to them. I disagree with Charlamagne. Also, Charlamagne has a very weird perception of the deletion of little people. I don't support him in any way, shape, or form in that regard, especially as a black man. I feel like that, yeah, I digress. I don't want to get too far digressing today because I got a long plan here today. So we're going to look at this, and I'm just going to point out some of the inconsistencies. But, before we go too far afield, I want to ask you real quick, which political party, sadly, we only have two of them, which political party brings up race first in pretty much every conversation? Is it the Democrats or is it the Republicans? So in the chat, if you could put a D for Democrat or an R for Republican, which party, generally speaking, brings up race first? Which one brings up race first? And I would love to see y'all in there. And I think I made this point when we were watching the RNC. I strongly suggested and pushed that the Republican Party continues to push policies. And many people pointed out that the Democrats don't actually have a policy. They just have personality and personas. And I see tons of the letter D's popping up. Can anybody tell me an instance where the Republican Party immediately goes to race? They start with, dare I say, even lead with race. Can anybody show me that, where they do that? Okay, I don't see anybody bringing that up. And that's a little bit disconcerting because here in this video, Charlamagne, Char is going to say something that's so ridiculous. I actually think that I'm now going to turn this channel into like a safe space. I'm going to turn this channel into a safe space. If you are a leftist, if you are a black person who's been hoodwinked, bamboozled, run amok by the Democrat Party, because they do is use your skin color. They weaponize your skin color and use you until they're done with you, and then they put you away. If you're tired of that, you can come here to DWC, and you know what? We're going to treat you like you're a real person. I know that's crazy, right? We're going to treat you like you can think. We're going to treat you like you have an idea. We're going to treat you like you are a person, an individual, a human even. We're not going to lump you together with everybody else and say, well, because you have a wonderful chin crown, then you think like everybody else who has a wonderful chin crown. Or because you have high melanin that's higher than mine, then you think like everybody else who has high melanin that's higher than mine. That's kind of stupid. It's actually kind of kindergartenish, dare I even say pre-K. But I digress. So if you need a safe space to come and hang out and just feel like a normal person, get into the best live chat on the planet, just say what's up and get up in here. We'll accept you as you are. You could be a reformed Democrat. You could be a recovering leftist. Okay. You could be the 12 steps out of communist or 12 steps out of socialism. Guess what? We got nothing but love for you over here at DWC. Now, I'm going to talk about Char because you know what? I don't like Charlamagne. I don't like Charlamagne, the false god. I don't like Charlamagne. I was trying to do that green eggs and ham thing. Let's get it going. Let's go.
I showed up. Those are the exact words that former President Donald Trump is using to defend his appearance at the National Association of Black Journalists convention yesterday, an appearance in which he questioned Harris's race.
She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
You know what? I gotta do something else too. And I try to be an open book here. I try to be fair and honest as best I can, everybody. I need to apologize. When I initially reviewed this clip of Donald Trump speaking, I said that he was wrong for doing that and this, that, and the third. And you know what? I talked to some other people. I had some time to reflect. And you know what? I actually think Donald Trump was a genius for what he did here. And what I want you to do is I want you to just rewind for a hot second. What was the temperature? What was the climate, the culture? What was going on before Donald Trump came here? Everybody was loving on Kamala. Kamala could do no wrong. They were in the process of rebranding her and repackaging her as this stalwart, this modern day Harriet Tubman, whatever you want to say like that, right? And then what happened? Like you actually heard nothing about Trump. You didn't even hear about JD Vance at the border. What did you hear? And then all of a sudden, Trump did this. Now I don't know if he did it on purpose, because again, they don't reach out to me. They just steal my ideas. I see you, RNC. They just steal my ideas. But you know what he did? He totally stopped that Kamala train. He totally stopped it. And now what are they doing? They are trying to answer the obvious and clear question that Trump put out there. Is she black? Why are you calling her black? I thought she was Indian. That's what she's been saying. And so it's now caused problems with them because now they have to answer to Trump when before they were just love festing and loving all over her. But now all of a sudden they have to now push back and answer this very serious accusation here that she's playing a game. She's playing a ruse. I like to say that she's trying to use blackface. So she's blackification or burnt curry. I don't know, whatever. So I think it's interesting. So I have to say, I think this was actually brilliant. But let's go. Continue, Jason.
Of course, Harris is both and has been very clear about that. She spoke extensively about it, in fact, over the years. And to Charlamagne the God, host of the Breakfast Club radio show, she talked about it.
I'm black.
Yes.
And I'm proud of being black.
Absolutely.
And I was born black. I will die black. And I'm proud of being black. And I'm not going to make any excuses for anybody because they don't understand.
All right, Charlamagne the God's out.
Now, there's no other people group that you would say that to, that you would say that. So the reason and the purpose that you have to say I'm black, like I don't go around telling people I'm black. I tell them I'm high melanated. And if you can't observe and see that I'm black, then I can't do nothing for you, man. I can't. Why do you have to do that? Because you know that you're not. She's not. And please, before you jump in the chat and tell me she's an AKA or she went to Howard, don't do that. Don't do that. I went to Morehouse. I have hundreds of Morehouse brothers and sisters that are in sororities and fraternities. Man, each and every one of them have white brothers and sisters in the sororities and fraternities. Don't do that. Don't do that. Save that for another show, for somebody else.
Front. He's also the author of a new book called Get Honest or Die Lying, Why Small Talk Sucks, an analysis of the moment in which we all live, this polarized world that we are living in. So Charlamagne, Trump's not backing away from the controversy. Today he went online, he shared a photo of Harris wearing a sari in a family photo, and he writes about it. Your warmth, friendship, and love of your Indian heritage are very much appreciated. Okay, so that's what he did today. Let me just ask it to you this way, though, Charlamagne. Does he deserve credit, as he says, for showing up at the Black journalists event yesterday?
Okay, before Charlamagne says something ridiculous, I personally don't. I thought going to the Black journalists convention, I thought that was a good move. I thought it was a good opportunity. I thought there was opportunity there. I now probably would not have advised him to do that, but I could see what he was doing. So let's see what Shar got to say. Shar, what you got to say?
Peace, Aaron. How are you, first and foremost? No, does he deserve credit? No, he doesn't deserve credit. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't give a damn about any of this, and neither should you. Like, nobody in the media should care. Donald Trump doesn't have any new tricks. He focuses on identity. He focuses on race. He focuses on gender.
Okay, I want to stop right there. He just said that Donald Trump focuses on race, identity, and agenda. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? Like, literally, there's no way in the world. This is deplorable. And this is what gaslighting is. If you're not familiar with gaslighting, this is it, where they tell you what's something that's happening and they tell you that it's not happening. And they're literally saying that Donald Trump focuses on race. When does that happen? He was literally at the Black Journalists Convention. Show me a white journalist convention. I'll wait. Right, that's my point. It doesn't happen. Charlamagne is a complete and total clown, a total clown. I mean, of the highest order. I mean, if there's a hierarchy of clowns, he's a chief ruling viceroy clown. I mean, that's really what we are. Let's keep this going. Let's go.
He makes white America think that the changing demographics of this country are a threat to their livelihood, and he makes them believe if we don't take things back to the way they were, probably 1950 something, then America as they know it will be ruined.
Can somebody show me where Trump said that? We got to take it back to 1950 something, and otherwise it'll be ruined. Show me where he said that. Book, chapter, verse, in context. I would love to see that, where he's actually said that. I would absolutely love that. I would love to see that played out. Let me know if you find it, dearwokesy@gmail.com. Let's go. Let's finish.
Just a distraction. Like Public Enemy had a album called Fear of a Black Planet. Trump tries to scare people with the fear of a black and brown America, and we have to stop falling for it. Like we just have to stop falling for it.
All right.
Like,
All right. So today, though, you talk about it. You tackled it on your show because it's out there. People are talking about it. One of your callers.
So I want to point out again, like, initially I thought it was a bad idea that he did that, but now I can see, like, it's literally now in the ether. It's out there in the culture. It's in the water, and people are talking about it. People are discussing, like, no, she ain't black. She ain't black. And please understand, black folk give all kinds of stipulations in order for you to be black. So for them not to accept Kamala is proof positive that we're ridiculous for sure. But let me finish up.
Actually called in and said something about it that I wanted to play for everyone so you could explain sort of how this makes you think and feel. Here's the caller.
Man, to be honest, Kamala Harris, she already said that she wasn't black. It's all over everything. She didn't have an interview. Yeah. I understand. But she already said that she's not black. She identifies as an Indian. When she was running and she did all of that in California. Yes, she has.
No, she hasn't.
Yes, she has.
Listen, have you ever read her book?
No, I don't read. I won't. Say what now?
In her book, she specifically talks about how, her mom definitely instilled her Indian heritage in her, but also told her she was a black woman and raised her to be a proud black woman.
They have an interview. She has a verbal interview with a white woman, and she says that she is not black. She is Indian.
Yikes. Yeah, I want to point that out. And I dropped that video of the moderators. Feel free, drop that link in the chat. I have the video of her saying that she's Indian. So you can tell me now, granted, her mother is no longer with us. So therefore, we're taking Kamala's word for it, for her saying that her mother said that she's a black woman. Okay. I mean, okay, whatever it is. Your dad is still alive. Why is he not chiming in on this conversation? Just interesting. Just something to consider. Just something to think about. Hey, there we go. Just something to think about.
Lord have mercy.
So what do you do about it?
He blasphemes God on a regular basis. Now all of a sudden he wants God to have mercy. He might need to call out to God for mercy, but not for what he's heard here. Let's go.
That.
What do I do? Is I tell everybody not to be distracted, and I would say the same thing to the vice president. All the vice president has to do is stay on message. All these conversations about what's black, who's black, forget all that. How you gonna put money in people's pockets?
How are you? That's all she talks about. She literally started her campaign running on the idea that she's going to overturn Roe v. Wade. She's going to restore, rather, Roe v. Wade. That's what, I'm sorry, what is she, what are her policies? Again, I tell you, this is the party of death. I don't think it's odd or ironic that they start with the letter D. This is the party of death. They don't have anything on their platform that actually pushes out into the future and continues to support life. Catch me outside if you disagree. dearwokesy@gmail.com. And there's a lot, and we could get into some deep weeds on whether or not persons who Indian people, what is their relationship with the highly melanated crowd? And we can start in India, we can start in their interactions, of course, here in the United States. Those are not really good relationships. Those are not necessarily the best relationships. So to be a Indian American or a person with Indian heritage and also claiming to be black That's very interesting. Matter of fact, where are the Indian population? Where is the Indian population now? What are they saying about Kamala? Just something to think about. Just wondering.
Keep people safe. That's what both candidates need to be talking about over the next 95 days. We all know Kamala Harris is black, and we all know she's Indian. And we also know Donald Trump is a bigot, and we know he's divisive. I don't need the media running Donald Trump's greatest hits over and over for the next 95 days. Donald Trump, as of right now, has no real strategy against the vice president. So they're going to say she's a DEI hire. They're going to attempt to weaponize her not having kids. They're going to question her blackness. Ignore it all. Aaron, listen.
But Charlamagne, I understand, but you're talking about the media, and I'm not taking it personally, but I do think it's important, in part because of that caller.
Media too, though.
I know,
but too.
Yeah, no, I understand, but that caller calls in, and whether it should or shouldn't, sometimes it just is. If it gets into the ether and it starts affecting how people think and feel, then that becomes an actual problem. How do you deal with that? You get calls like that. You actually have an opportunity to interact with someone, to try to explain. Do you feel like people hear you?
Yes, I have no problem telling that young man he's bugging. Well, or you could say he's half right? Because yes, the vice president has said she's Indian, but she also says she's black because she's both. And that's why we need to ignore it all. The media should focus on whatever candidate is talking about the issues. Anything else is not worth the airtime. How many times is Donald Trump going to run the same trick over and over and over, and we continue to fall for it and be distracted? Focus on the issues. Focus on the candidate who has an actual plan for America.
Very, very interesting. Because Shar knows good and well, if Donald Trump said he wanted to do something that supported Black community or do something that supported a particular people group, he would immediately excoriate him because he is not of that community or of that population or people group. We know that emphatically, and we know that to be true. And he knows that. This is the highest level of projecting I think is even possible. Again, I'm going to call Shar the biggest, the viceroy, the head honcho clown. Because, I mean, what he's saying is, first of all, it's dishonest. And I appreciate the young lady actually was pushing back a little bit. I think she should have pushed back more. But she recognized, like, like the man, what he said is out there now. People are cogitating and thinking about that. And I think at the end of the day, they just know that they're lying. They know that they're lying. And they really need you to believe that not only are they're to believe that they're telling the truth, but they need you to buy into this lie, to buy hook, line, and sinker. And it's silliness. It's absolutely ridiculousness. And I'm here to watch it and make fun of it. That's what I'm about to do. Real quick, I want to say thank you so very much to Jean Lee. Thank you, Jean Lee, for the very kind $10 super chat. What does she say? She got a question for your boy. She says, DWC, what do you think will happen if Harris wins, or vice versa? All right, Harris wins. I think, first of all, I don't believe Harris can win. I'll just be honest with you. I don't believe that the marketing and the push that she is getting is very, very contrived. I don't believe that she can win. But let's just say in a fair and clear election, I know that was a joke. In a fair and clear election, she wins. Then we will be pushed into a we will be, if Joe Biden was bad, then we are now going to be in much worse situations. The border is just going to be open. Our inflation will not change. Our cost of living will, our status of living, if you will go down. Absolutely. Because she's already elevated and she's already prioritized people that are not Americans over Americans. It's just going to be what it is. That's just it. I do think, on the same note, Trump wins. I do think that he's going to come in and he's going to make changes that will be immediately felt in Americans' pocketbooks. I think he's going to make some changes with gas. I think he's going to make some changes with inflation and, of course, the border. Those are some areas I think he's going to immediately, day one, day two, the first week, he's going to jump on. Now, those will be that's what I believe the president would do. Now, all that being considered, we as Americans will have to deal with what our dismay or our euphoria, and work with these people who are who are in dismay and who are euphoric. We have to work together, because at the end of the day, the president doesn't change the fact that I owe my HOA money. The president really, truly doesn't have a hand on the fact that I've got to go to run my studio tomorrow and get that thing churning out some monies. That doesn't really, whoever's in office doesn't change that. So there are some things that the president does, but there's a lot of things that we do. And at the end of the day, we have to be mindful of those things. You want me to play that clip of Kamala? I'm black. I'm good. You know what? I will put that together. I will. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I probably should have said projection, caustic chameleon. I probably should have called it projection. And that's probably more akin to what Shar was doing, which is projecting out there his own ideas, because that's what he does. So he's projecting out there that Donald Trump is about race, or that Donald Trump only thinks about identity, when you wouldn't be able to show me anything that resembled that. All right, let me make sure we are moving it on. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. There's a lot of people in this chat. Thank you so much. Almost 250. Go ahead. Go and hit that like button. Don't be afraid of it. Hit the like button and go ahead and give me a heart. Just let me know that you appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. Now, y'all probably saw, and I think pretty much everybody saw, the Trump rally here in Atlanta. And you know what? It was kind of cool. The bit that I gleaned, I did not go, but the bit that I gleaned, I'm like, you know what? Okay, not bad. Now, I want to talk about something that a lot of people, they're not really discussing per se, but I'm going to kick open a little, start a fight, if you will. Woo! All right. I want to talk about this young lady. Her name is Michaelah Montgomery. And she is the infamous young lady that Trump ran into at the Chick-fil-A here in Hapeville earlier this year sometime. She's a community activist, really solid young lady. Now, I want to point out something. I just want you to just watch, and we're going to watch it. I'm trying not to stop a lot because this is she did a great job. I do want you to just watch it. And if you watched the RNC, you remember that they had Amber Rose on the RNC platform. And then, of course, earlier this week, Kamala Harris had Meg Thee Stallion do a concert at her rally at the same place, by the way. That's kind of wild. It's literally in the same building just a couple days later. Okay, so I just want you to keep those in mind. I do want to talk about it, but let's let Megan cook a little bit. I don't know if you saw this full version. This is the full version of her rally.
I'm so happy you all came out to see me. So, my name is Michaelah Montgomery. A lot of you guys know me as the girl from Chick-fil-A, but I am so much more than that. Not only do I serve as the CEO of Conserve the Culture, I am also the state director for Blexit down here in Georgia. I'm a Fulton County coordinator for America First Works, and I'm also launching a podcast on the Patriots Prayer Network, so put some respect on my name. Now, why don't we jump right into it? See, as a young single mother, I can tell y'all that rent is too damn high. I can tell you that as a young black voter, groceries are too damn high. And as an American citizen, period, seniors like my parents should never have to choose between medicine or food. It should never be the quality of life versus the quantity of life. And I don't want to hear, oh, but we capped the price of insulin and lowered the price of all these medicines. Yeah, but you raised the price of everything else, so it's about time to start telling the truth to Americans and let them know exactly what they're signing up for if they want to vote for Kamala Harris. We need to vote based on facts and not feelings. See, under Harris and Biden, the average Georgia household is losing $1,060 per month, and inflation is at 21.4%. And due to the war on energy, average gas prices have reached record highs for the state. We also did a poll, and 80% of us black Americans are not happy with the current state of the economy, so I'm going to need 80% of y'all to vote accordingly in November. They love me, they really love me. The left wants you to get in your feelings about things that have been said, but I want you guys to pay attention to what has been done. They don't want to talk policy. They just want to use propaganda to steal your vote. The left is trying to tout this woman as a savior for the black community, but all she's done is hurt the black community since she came into the game. See, the first step in destroying the black community is to dismantle the black family. So aside from her record as a prosecutor, why don't we ask Mrs. Willie Brown if Kamala Harris cares about black families?
Ouch. Ouch. That's going to leave a bruise. That's going to leave a bruise. Oh, that's going to leave a bruise. Y'all, we might need to get, y'all check on Kamala. Cause that left a mark. That was dirty. That was dirty.
I wonder if Mrs. Willie Brown, a black woman, is also with her. A few days ago, President Trump said he didn't know Vice President Harris was a black woman. I'm trying to figure out what all the outrage is about because she's only black when it's time to get elected. Did I lie? The same black people who are mad at Trump for being confused about her race, ethnicity, nationality, whatever, are seemingly forgetting that while you're touting her as a savior for black people, she identifies as an Asian woman.
Yikes.
She chose her side and it wasn't ours.
Yikes.
When asked if she would ever do anything specifically for black people, she said no. Whereas Trump gave us the Platinum Plan, which specifically uplifted the black community by increasing capital by almost $500 billion, creating 500,000 new black businesses, and would give black churches the ability to fight for federal resources for their communities. And why are we acting like strong borders aren't a thing literally everywhere else in the world? Since when has being patriotic been a crime? See, a few weeks ago at the debate, Trump mentioned black jobs. And a lot of people got in an uproar as if they didn't know what he meant. Well, we go to the polls and cast our black vote. We go to the stores and spend our black dollar. We live in our black community, but for whatever reason, we draw the line at a black job. Oh, but wait, because if you're wondering what a black job is, please, I encourage you all to drive through Atlanta at all these beautiful black-owned businesses and check and see who works there. Probably a black person working for a black entrepreneur, recycling the black dollar, creating black generational wealth. If they come here illegally and they're taking your jobs and your resources, then please believe my cousins in the Appalachians, they're coming for you too. And y'all know Kamala Harris has yet to say Laken Riley's name. As borders are, she opened the border to millions of illegal immigrants that have flooded American streets with deadly drugs and gangs that have spiked overdoses by over 124% and brought more crime into minority communities. So how's that for black folks? But let's take race out of it. Just as a woman, period. How can you be a champion for women's rights when you're taking away opportunities from biological women and giving them to transgendered ones?
Oh, this is going to hurt. That's going to leave a bruise.
I'll wait, y'all, because I wasn't done. See, how can you promote equity for women and you're allowing men to play in women's sports?
Yikes.
And what kind of feminist would still allow men to enter their sacred spaces, i.e. our bathrooms and school locker rooms? Do I even need to mention the opening ceremony at the Olympics? Or the fact that Angela Carini was forced to fight a man and told us that she's never been punched so hard in her life. We cannot allow dangerous liberals who think things like this are okay into the White House, because my daughter will not be fighting a man at her wrestling match. And what I think both men and women can agree on is that national security is important. So who would y'all rather see lead us into war if it were so to happen? My silk-pressed sister Kamala or the big dog Donald Trump?
Wait, did she call her silk pressed? Hold on. Wait, I don't think I heard that first time. Let me back up a little, Taste. I don't think I heard that when I first set this video up. Hold on.
Sister Kamala
She
or
did
the
say
big dog.
back
And
up.
what I think both men and women can agree on is that national security is important. So who would y'all rather see lead us into war if it were so to happen? My silk-pressed sister Kamala or the big dog Donald Trump?
She called her. Y'all, can we have a moment of silence for Kamala Harris's campaign? This woman is systematically slicing, dare I say, dicing her entire campaign apart. Because I'm waiting for the black folk to say that she's not black. I'm just waiting for that to happen. Y'all, we need to have a dearly beloved. We are gathered here today. This is this is painful. And I knew it was coming.
And lastly, I could not get up here without mentioning my farmers, the backbone of this country. And aside from the Biden-Harris administration hurting you guys in ways we can't even comprehend by the rising cost of everything, black farmers suffered even more due to the delays associated with the Inflation Reduction Act signed in 2022. Now, don't let the Biden-Harris administration fool you because they waited until the 9th hour to sign off on disbursements as a last-minute attempt to garner support. But why would they hurt the agricultural industry? Probably because they're looking forward to making more money in the pharmaceutical one. And speaking of pharmaceuticals, because I promise I'm gonna wrap this up, when they bring up abortion and they talk about protecting your medical freedoms, don't be afraid to mention COVID. The Biden-Harris administration forced Americans to take an experimental vaccine and took away their jobs, their livelihoods, and their freedoms if they refused. Trump gave us a choice and Biden gave us a mandate. Hey, y'all, because I'm about to kill him with this one. So the next time the left wants to tell you that, hey, abortion is a right and you need to protect your medical freedoms, remember that they took those freedoms away from men and women the second they got in office, and there's nothing stopping them from doing it again. Clock it. So lastly, again, I'm going to encourage you all to vote based on the facts and not feelings. Oh, he made me feel so bad when he said that. Okay, but they hurt your families when they sent all your tax dollars overseas.
Yikes.
Oh, it hurts my feelings when he acts like that. Okay, but it hurts all of us when you see an administration failing their country that they were elected to represent. In which case, I'm going to leave y'all with, hey, mama, daddy, I made it. And my baby girl, Amaya, is somewhere in here, so we can all say, hey, Amaya, in unison, because she's the real superstar, y'all. But I'm going to go ahead and let y'all get riled up and ready for Big T himself. Thank you guys for having me. I look forward to seeing you all.
So, I started this by asking, do you think it was appropriate for her to speak at the Trump rally? And I've heard lots and lots and lots of people said it was not appropriate for her to speak there, that she was inappropriate. And these are people their opinions matter none to me. But I just want to play this game for a second because I want to bring up, and they also brought up, Amber Rose. And Amber Rose was at the RNC. If you watched, I think it was day one of the RNC, she was there and she spoke at the RNC and she gave a really decent speech. I think most people agreed that her speech was good. All things being considered, her speech was pretty good. And I don't know why I can't pull this video up. I mean, this clip up. But I just want to point something out. We'll just do it like this. Sorry about that. All right, here's Amber Rose. All right, so Amber Rose is, of course, a model, entertainer, whatever you want to call her. of that nature. I don't support her brand and whatnot. But I think most people, just common sense people, can realize, like, you know what? Her participation in the RNC was not a bad thing because she was super respectful. And I'm doing this. I think I got it now. I might have it. All right. And for the most part, Amber Rose was well clothed. She had a long dress on. Sure. She got a checkered past, my guys. She's got a checkered past. No question, no doubt. Nobody's arguing that point. But here at the RNC, she was decently dressed, very respectful, very articulate, all that kind of stuff. And I think she spoke for about 4, maybe 5 minutes. Not super long, but it was, again, a very rich policy. This is what the president wants to do, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Now, this is the young lady that Kamala thought would be the right person to bring to her rally at the same place, by the way. I think that is the part that really is amazing to me. Like, they're literally at the same place. And this is the young lady, Meg the Stallion. And yeah, they're twerking. I'm sure you've seen the clips. I'm not going to do that tonight. I don't want to waste my time with that foolishness. But they're twerking, they're dancing. This grandma right there, she looks like I did not come here for this foolishness. I'm not coming for this. So I just think it's interesting that they bring a young lady up, Montgomery up. They bring Amber Rose up. Sure. They are not necessarily maybe what the old Republican Party is about. I got you. But I think we can all agree this is a new face for the Republican Party. But this is what, and if you ask yourself, what are they selling me? What are they selling me? Montgomery, she came up there nicely dressed. She spoke articulate. She clearly articulated what she wanted you to buy into, which is the vision that America could be better. Same thing with Amber Rose. If you go back and listen to her at the RNC, they believe that America could be better. But if you go back and listen to what Megan here is promoting, I don't know. You tell me. I would love to know if you listen to it or you peep it out. I'm not going to play it, of course, but if you peep it out, just let me know. Like, what is she selling? What is she pushing? What is the idea that she wants you to buy into? An idea that in order for decency to be returned to the White House, you have 6, 7 black women shaking their bodies on the stage in order to prove that decency is back in the White House. Okay. That's what you want me to believe. I got you. It doesn't make sense. Now, those are the 3 points I want to point out. Am I talking about everything that happened at the RNC? Am I talking about everything that Amber Rose has done? Everything that Montgomery's pushed? No, absolutely not. But I just thought that was interesting because I thought the pushback that I've heard, well, you had Amber Rose there, so you could have Meg the Stallion there. Like, what are you talking about? How do you make that jump? That logical jump is pretty wild. It's super wild, but go do what you're gonna do. I don't support it. So you just knock yourself unconscious, okay, my guy. Go ahead, put yourself into a coma. I'm not gonna participate in the craziness, but I am going to participate in saying shout out to the almost 300 people that are in the chat. I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all so very much for hanging out with me on this evening. And I'm just going to run a clip because I am now going to talk about what I really truly believe is going to become like Whitaker's wonderful what ifs. So last week I talked about why I thought that Judge Whitaker of the YSL case was going to, why she was allowing the trial to continue. And so today if you saw the link or saw the thumbnail, it's called Fani Throwing the Towel. And I'm going to explain why I believe that Judge Whitaker is now Fani Willis's biggest arch enemy. So let's use comic books, for example, or Saturday morning cartoons or after school cartoons. You're familiar with G.I. Joe versus Cobra, He-Man versus Skeletor, and all these different good versus bad, the hero versus their arch enemy. Sometimes it's a carbon copy or negative copy of the hero, whatever like that. But we're all familiar with that. And one of the things that we notice is that the arch enemy usually has a flaw that the hero takes advantage of, and dare I say, just utilizes on a regular basis, whether it be the instability of the Joker, whether it be the not clearly thought out plans of Skeletor, whatever, the grandiose plans of Cobra Commander, right? Whatever it is, the hero usually has a plan, or I'm sorry, has an Achilles heel. He or she has some flaw that the hero can take advantage of on a regular basis. And so let's look at Fani Willis. And I'm gonna just kind of articulate this here. Feel free, and I definitely want to hear what you all think about it. So last week, if you've been following the YSL case, you watched Judge Whitaker really start to reveal what I think she knows about the Fulton County DA's office, and more specifically, DA Love and DA Hilton, and very, very specifically, Fani Willis in this case. So at no point does she ever call out specific any of those people. Well, no, I'm sorry, Love and Hilton, they do be catching it, but she doesn't call out Fani specifically. But I think we can all agree, like, Fani represents the whole Fulton County DA's office. And so I want to go over this and just kind of parse through, and I want you to we're going to call this Whitaker's Wonderful What Ifs. So now, I'm reading my notes right here. So initially, when Judge Whitaker came in, she only had the motions from the defense, Steele, Shard, Matthews, Weinstein, and those guys, and the motions from the state. And so she could read the motions, but she didn't have a lot of the context, a lot of the background like we had, because again, the trial's been going on for better than 18 months. So she didn't have a lot to go on. She just had the motions. And I do believe, I know it sounds weird, I don't think she's been keeping up with this trial. I don't think she's been watching it like we have. It does. I'm sure she had like a working knowledge of it, but I don't think she's never jumped into the chat. Sis Wit is not in the chat. Or maybe she is. I don't know. Shout out to you, Paige. I see you. But I don't think she knew about it. So a lot of these ins and outs, a lot of these backs and forths, she's getting from paper. She's reading it, transcripts. She's reading files and documents and motions, so on and so forth, this and that. So she continued the case because she knew that there's been a groundswell that this should be a mistrial. This should be a mistrial. You need to throw this out. It goes to mistrial. We already know Glanville got kicked out. The other young lady decided not to handle it. So she got it. So she knew that there was some kind of something going on, but I don't think she's been deep in the weeds. But now that it's her case, she's in these weeds now, and she's deep in these weeds, right? So she on right before the case really kicked off, she opened and closed the case. Basically, she took ownership of it. And I think when she did that, Judge Whitaker saw a little bit more in detail. This case is a complete and utter fool. How in the world has it gotten this far afield and nobody stopped it? How in the world have we gotten here? But she had the evidence of those motions, and there was a lot of motions. Remember, motion release day? It was crazy, right? It was like 20 motions came out all in one day. And then she had this evidence she's looking at, like, man, this is crazy. But in order to overturn, or rather declare a mistrial, you don't want your mistrial to go to appeals and then get overturned in appeals. That is a very bad look for a judge. So there might be a little level of self-preservation there. Absolutely. However, let's continue. So when she unsealed those files, she looked and she knew that this case was big. It was a big, steaming, hot pile of bovine scatology. And it was 18 months in the making. And she knew good and well it was never going to get any better. There was errors, there was foibles. She saw things that just didn't work right. And we saw those things where the state would argue something and Judge Glanville would kind of give them a little nudge or kind of let them make a bad argument but accept it. All those kind of things. She saw those. So now Paige Whitaker now realizes like this is not good, but I can't just declare a mistrial because it's going to go to appeal and it could possibly get overturned. And if it gets overturned, there was no justice done. Because a lot of people say, well, there's no justice being done. There is no justice being done. In my opinion, there is no justice being done for Young Thug right now today. There is no justice. But we're going to get to that toward the end. But she didn't want, or she knows that if she just declares a mistrial without the facts and evidence and good case law, it could be overturned. And then they're back to square one. And then she's got egg on her face. So she needed more evidence. So I suspect that she saw that the inconsistencies when she looked in that box and when she looked at those sealed documents and she saw there was a lot of things that were not right. And it piqued her spidey sense. You know what I'm saying? Spidey sense. So she's thinking like, okay, there's something wrong here. It's really wrong here. But she wasn't clear exactly what it was, and she needed a clean case. And I also want to just add here, at this point of the game, most of us did not know exactly how incompetent Fulton County DA's office was. We just thought they just didn't have a good case. We just thought that they were just making up stuff, but we didn't know. We didn't know just how bad it was. So I do want you to just put a pin in that because we are going to come back to that in a second. So Judge Whitaker needs more evidence. So I suspect that she saw those inconsistencies. And the reason that she laid out those rules on the first day, she laid out those rules in her opening session was to start picking at those areas that she noticed. And some areas that she notices that the state is not prepared. And that's why she said, we are going to be working from 8:30 to 6 o'clock every single day. Because that right there already threw the state into a tizzy, like, holy crap, we never worked that long before. Wait, hold on. We never did that before. She's already starting. She's starting to pick at the rot. She's already starting to get the scalpel out and starting to dig into it already, but not too much. It's not, was it hyper aggressive yet? She's just kind of getting in there a little scraping, right? Let's keep it going. And she knew that those people were not ready to work. She also has been making they've also been making really bad arguments. But she needed proof and evidence in 4K, if you will. So she had to so she couldn't just be getting it from what she saw or in the transcripts related to Glanville. She needed to kind of see it in herself. So I believe that she saw some artful writing. I don't think that this is the first time. If you watched my video yesterday where Judge Whitaker called out ADA Love for basically inartful writing. Basically, you're lying. You're not being truthful and honest, or you're being sloppy. But because she told her that you need to maintain your candor, she's basically saying you've been lying to us. That wasn't good. And I think she saw more of that in the box when she sealed it. Because if we go back and run the tapes on all this, I mean, there's thousands of hours of interviews and thousands of hours of court. I'm sure we've probably seen more things than we realize. Like, yeah, that was kind of, that's that too. We would see it. And she probably saw it herself. And she wanted to kind of press on it and see if she was right. So then when ADA Love and Fani made that mistake of basically using Chat GPT to write a motion that had no bearing at all, that's when that's when it got evasive. That's when she really started digging in and removing the rot. Okay, so let's keep going. She saw some inartful writings in those seal folders, but out of the blue, that's when those motions started dropping on her desk, because those are like in real time. Before all that stuff that happened with Glanville, that wasn't to her. So she would be looking at what happened with the previous judge. So that's not really on her docket, if you will. That's why she tries not to go too far into that. But the motions, those are right in her desk. Those are right on her desk. Those are for her to touch first. And now that's where the problems started happening. So she had a hot off the press example of this inartful writing and all of this that she was suspecting. Those bad arguments, that's what she was suspecting. So as most of us, as I said before, saw ADA Love wasn't loving that body work that Judge Whitaker gave her about the case law from like 1973 or something, 78, something crazy like that. And I think Judge Whitaker knew, like, yeah, this is where it's gone wrong. So when she wrote that motion, which by the way, I don't think she actually wrote that motion, but that's where Judge Whitaker even came in hot off the press and said, hey, I said whoever wrote this should come in and be in court and be ready to defend it. Well, ADA Love replied and said, I'll be there. She's like, does that mean that you wrote this? Why would you say that? Because Fani Willis signed the motion. Or there was a lot of inconsistencies, and I believe there were a ton of inconsistencies in that. So let me keep going. So now, Judge Whitaker has more and more, she's not only heard these things, she's read the motions previous, she's read the cases before, but now she's got in 4K right in front of her an example of this inartful writing. And dare I say, this bad argumentation. We saw Hilton's argument where she asked her, like, do you have evidence that Woody not only is a member of YSL, but he's bragging about the Lil Wayne bus shooting? And they didn't. And we all know that they would have got a pass on that. If Glanville had been there, that thing would have been considered gospel truth and kept on moving. So I want to go back to something I pinned before. Before Judge Whitaker, before last week, we didn't know just how bad the argumentations were. We just didn't like them. We just didn't think that they had a good argument. We thought they were kind of scatterbrained and they're kind of all over the place. They're talking about this, they're talking about that. But we saw in 4K, like, yo, they really are wild over here. And I do want to encourage you, if you've been watching the case at all, I do think you should watch segments multiple times. So if you watch my video on candor and my video on inartful, by the way, I made a playlist for those. I just put those two in a playlist because I thought they were useful. If you watch those two videos, I watched those clips a lot. I watched them a lot. And I realized, like, yo, I didn't catch this the first time. I didn't catch that. Wow, was that there before? So the more you watch it, the more it starts to make sense. So I would encourage you strongly, like, watch these things a couple times if you're interested in it. If you're, take it or leave it, that's perfectly fine. But I would encourage you, just watch them a couple times because I think you'll get something out of it. But here we go. Now we know, because again, we thought they were shady. We thought they were grimy. We thought they were slimy. But now, after last week, we saw it in 4K. We watched that woman try to make up law. We watched them with no evidence try to say, well, and then again, they have no proof. It's all hearsay. It's all word of mouth. It's all somebody said. You don't have a smoking gun. Watch this. If Love and Hilton had a smoking gun and hard evidence, don't you know we would already have, this case would have been done? I continue. So now we know what we suspected before, that ADA Love and Hilton, and dare I say, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office is cutting corners, trying to get through the best way possible and get this case to a conviction. But most of us have been worried about that. We've been thinking about it, but now we saw it. And now we know we've got confirmation, if you will. So not only has Judge Whitaker confirmed a lot of the stuff, like the extra ex parte that nobody told anybody about, or the of course the main ex parte that caused all this brouhaha, all of that stuff, and then watching how poorly the argumentation is now that they have a new judge. Why is that? Why is it that you can't make any good arguments? Why is it that you can't? You're not winning this case, state? Let us continue. Because now we're watching this in 4K. So now Judge Whitaker actually has brought us all up to speed. We're all now paying attention. We're all now listening, rewinding. Let me hear that again. We're all doing that now. We're all paying double attention. We're reading motions now, way more than we were reading them before even. So now, because she did not declare mistrial before, and she's let this thing ride out, now I dare say Fani Willis is actually losing. And dare I say, remember in the beginning, I said the villain usually has a proclivity or something of that nature, a weakness, an Achilles heel. Fani Willis's Achilles heel is that she has declared that these men are a gang, and she's declared that they are the horriblest thing in the world, and they're getting dog walked. They have no evidence to this fact. I'm challenging, and I'm gonna finish up my notes here. Fani Willis is gonna have to call this. She's gonna have to call this because Judge Whitaker is showing you she's not gonna declare a mistrial. She's not, because it's pretty fair if this goes to conclusion. And by the way, it's not gonna be as long as it was before, because she's gonna have them working 40 something hours a week. The state's gonna throw in the towel just on that alone. But this thing's probably gonna be done by Thanksgiving, probably even sooner than that. So I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Now, back to the point. Finally, and Judge Whitaker saying, I'm not going to declare mistrial. Now, there's still 2 motions for mistrial that are kind of floating out there. And she could pull a hat trick and just declare mistrial, declare prejudice, and it's over. It is. But Fani Willis's path to victory is limited. She only has one way to win in this. And actually, even if she wins, it's already going to appeal. We already know that it's going to appeal. So even if we snapped our finger right now today, and this case was over, and the jury came back and they threw the book at them, they're already going to be appealed. And I don't believe that any judge, because now everything that was involved from Glanville day one all the way to the end will be up for discussion. I don't think any appellate court's going to keep that, because there's a lot of things that are wrong. So that victory will be snatched. I'm sorry. Yeah, that victory will be snatched by defeat. So I don't think that they only have one way really to win. And that's they win and nobody wants to appeal it, which doesn't even make sense. But they have countless ways to lose this case. Now, of course, Judge Whitaker could just do them a solid and declare mistrial with prejudice, and it's over. Fani Willis go lick her wounds, and her wound, and it's over. But Judge Whitaker hasn't done that yet. Why? Judge Whitaker is exposing, and this is my argumentation here, Judge Whitaker is exposing the wickedness of and the evil of the Fulton County DA's office. And she's putting it on full display. We did not know just how bad this was when Judge Glanville was there. And we had some ideas, we had some inklings, but now with Judge Glanville gone, and a real judge actually holding their feet to the fire, guess what? Now we're watching it in real time. We're watching the wheels on the bus come off, and it's going crazy. And I think, in my opinion, this is the Apollo Creed getting beat by Drago the Russian. And Duke is yelling at Rocky, throw in the towel, throw in the towel. Fani Willis is going to have to eat crow, because really the only way that she can save this and salvage this is to eat crow and drop the charges. I don't think she's going to do it, because her weakness is that she's prideful. And she talked big game. She talked monster size game about this. And again, I don't know if these gentlemen are guilty, mind you. Please understand, I don't know that. And the reason I don't know that is because they've done a poor job of conveying the facts. So I'm not going to make them guilty just because I don't like them. I'm not going to make them guilty because Fani Willis said they're guilty. I hope to goodness y'all don't do that to me. I hope to goodness y'all don't do that to somebody and just say, well, hey, I don't like the way his hair looks. I don't like the way she got tattoos on her face. They're guilty. They're guilty. Throw them in the jail. Goodbye. I hope y'all don't do that. They have to prove it. At the current moment, Fulton County DA's office has dropped the ball as it relates to proving anything. I say it as a joke, but I'm not really joking. They couldn't prove that I'm a black man at this point in the game. Let's just give it up. So so my argumentation is this. Judge Whitaker is maybe not intentionally, maybe not with the motive that I'm saying, but she is exposing how corrupt Fulton County DA's office is. Imagine this, and this is imagine this. Let me get to my part of my notes. Sorry. Right here. Imagine this. This case could very well be the encouragement, the impetus for full judicial reform in Fulton County. Maybe, because think about it, many of y'all talked about this. How many other people have ADA Love and ADA Hilton run game on before? How many other people has this happened with? And people even suggested that they need to look at every trial that Judge Glanville Love and Hilton have worked together on. I don't know. Maybe that should happen. But what if this trial, win, lose, or draw, free Thug or Thug gets life, whatever. Imagine if this now causes people to really start looking at the judicial system in Fulton County with a greater eye of scrutiny. I mean, we do have a commission overlooking DAs now in Georgia. What if that like really starts holding people's feet to the fire? All because of this. Because please keep in mind, if Judge Glanville had called a mistrial way back at the beginning, we would not know any of the stuff that we know today. We didn't know anything about using AI to write motions. We didn't know that they write such poor motions. We didn't realize fully how bad their argumentation is. We didn't realize that. Now we had an idea, we had an inkling, we had a spidey sense, but now we can see it. We can roll back the tape. Y'all can say, hey, there's a video right here. Listen to what they're saying. It's crazy. So we got that now, all because they chose not to declare a mistrial. Well, really, because he chose to have that ex parte meeting. If Judge Glanville had not had that, we wouldn't be having this conversation probably right now. But I digress. So I just want to point that out. I do believe that the last week and probably moving into the forward is going to be a full pulling back of the curtain, shining the light on the wickedness that has been going on in Fulton County DA's office. And again, maybe they will start looking at some cases. Maybe they will start looking at some men that are in jail. Maybe they will finally say that these men and women that are in the Fulton County jail, almost 200 plus that are in there without charges, have to be let go by noon. Maybe they will. Maybe they will, because they realize that y'all running game on them. I don't know. But I want to get to the last point here. This is something I noticed. We are now in America that is so racist. It is very racist here in America. America is extremely racist. We are so racist here in America that we are watching a Southern white woman fight and claw and clamor to make Black women properly apply the law to protect 6 or 7 Black men from them Black women. That's how racist we done got. We done got so racist that Judge Whitaker is actually the face of protecting young Thug. Make this make sense to me. But we looking at 2 Black women that look just like Thug and the rest of the crew that are trying to throw the book at him and would by any means necessary do whatever they can to get them thrown in jail. Make that make sense. Oh, and by the way, we used to have Judge Glanville, who, by the way, was a Black man as well, that was doing anything to throw those men in jail. We are now watching Judge Whitaker remove those remove those career stepping stones out of the way, and she is making these people do their jobs. And dare I say, with veracity, like she's literally going to bat for Black men. Please tell me again how racist we are. Please tell me. I want to hear how racist America is. The judicial system is so racist that a white woman is fighting a Black woman to keep Black men out of jail. Make this make sense to me. Make it make sense. Oh my gosh. I mean, the law is being properly applied by a white woman. Y'all come on. Y'all come on. Drop Sis Wit in the chat. Put Sis Wit in the chat. That's my girl. By the way, my last name is Whitaker. So when I say that I call Judge Whitaker Sis Wit, I'm being facetious and saying that she is my sister. And y'all gonna get in your feelings about that. And that's okay. I'm a whole grown man. I'll be okay with that. Get in your feels. Get in your feels. Get to your feeling side. But drop Sis Wit in the chat. Like, we are literally in a world that y'all are telling me that I'm oppressed by white people, watching a white woman fight with Black women to not throw Black men in jail. Somebody put that on a t-shirt or something. Put that on a coffee mug. My goodness in the morning. That's how racist we are. I can't even make it make sense. I can't even make it make sense. I'm gonna get into a fight with y'all, and I'm not done. I'm still here to pick fights. A lot of y'all don't believe in trickle down economics, right? You don't believe in it, and that's okay. It's a holdover from the early Reagan years. Basically, rich people, they're because they're rich, the economy, the money rolls downhill. Okay. A lot of y'all don't agree with that, and that's okay. I'm not here to argue about trickle down economics. All I want to do is point out something to you. You do realize that if Young Thug was not rich and didn't have money to pay for Brian Steele and the other attorneys, he probably would have got a public defender and they would have had a cop a plea and they would already be in jail. The only reason that Young Thug is out of jail is because of his notoriety and because he had money. Now, where I'm going with that is anything that comes from this, the fact that we now know how corrupt and evil the Fulton County DA's office is literally because Young Thug had money. If he didn't have money, he'd have had a public defender, a take a plea attorney, and they'd have been in jail. They'd already be in jail. Whether they're guilty or not, it don't matter. You got to take this plea, man. They offer you 50 years. Just take it and get out of there. Like that'd have been it. But the reason they're not is because of, dare I say, trickle down economics. Because they had that money. Now we all know how wicked they are. And some of y'all live in other places. So y'all are probably saying, yo, we need to be mindful of our own DAs. We need to be mindful of what's going on in our own judicial system, all because of this case. And I think that it's pretty interesting that many people push back on the idea, but the only reason that Thug is not in jail is because he had money and he can fight this. And not only could he fight this and overcome it because he just threw tons of money at it, but they were actually wrong. And his fighting actually has proven how wrong they were. Just something to think about. Something to think about. All right. So shout out. Thank you so much. That's going to be my little episode. I'm going to call it Wit's Wonderful What Ifs. So what if Judge Whitaker is doing this to expose just how rancid and rotten and wrecked the Fulton County DA's office is? Just something to think about, something to consider. But I do want to say thank you so much to Bruce. Bruce has become a member of the channel. Thank you so much, Bruce. I thank you so much. I love Hippolyta's thought process. She said, God directs all things. This may be his way to reform. I think it is. I think it is. If nothing else, if one or two bad DAs get removed, if one or two laws get reevaluated, if anything comes from it, I think there's good that comes out of it. Absolutely. And thank you, by the way, for the very kind super chat. I appreciate it. All right. And speaking of that, I want to say thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. This is always a lot of fun. So tomorrow, which is Monday, y'all, I'm gonna suggest that everybody go to bed. We're gonna wrap this up soon. How do I become a member? Thank you so much. The moderators are gonna drop I am Lady 57. The moderators are gonna drop that in the chat in a second. Tomorrow, I don't know how it's going to go. Tomorrow's going to be fireworks central. So Jonathan Melnick, who is Woody's attorney, he's coming in to court on tomorrow. Now, the thing that's going to be interesting, the thing that is going to be very spicy is that only Adrian Love is going to be there because apparently Simone Hilton had a planned medical event that she wasn't going to be there tomorrow. So Melnick is going to be there dealing with Love, talking about the fact that Love and Hilton were being dishonest, that they didn't know that Woody had an attorney and so on and so forth. Again, I have no idea how long this case is going to go. I think it's I think Judge Whitaker wants this thing to go all the way to the end. She doesn't see a reason to end it. I thought before, I know I'm conflict with myself. I know before I thought she's gonna just throw this out because ain't nobody got time for that. No, she's gonna probably try to ride this thing all the way to the end. But mind you, there's still two big problems. And one of them is what happens tomorrow with Melnick, and then also what happens with the jury. I don't know how they rehabilitate the jury. So that's going to be very interesting, super interesting. So that's tomorrow at 8:45. Melnick is supposed to be there at 9. And yeah, to say that there's going to be fireworks is an understatement. I would highly recommend that you follow what Hippoista is saying. Make sure you got your coffee and your breakfast. Go on and get that stuff out of the way, because I don't want you spitting out anything, laughing or whatever when they start going in, because I got a bad feeling about this. I got a bad feeling about it. It's going to be wild. It is going to be wild. Yo, thank you, Mimi, for joining the club. Thank you so much for joining, dear Will Christian. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Thank you. Y'all, this is wild. So I appreciate y'all. I love what y'all are saying right here. Yeah, there's a lot of innocent people in jail, and I'm wondering if they're going to start looking at that more. I mean, there's an Innocence Project here in Atlanta. I wonder that this is now giving them fuel. Are they going back looking at that? I mean, this is going to be wild. I'm not certain why we're doing this. Whitaker wants to preserve the trial for Judge Overrule's sake. I don't think that she has any affinity with. Now, maybe so, but I don't see any reason to believe that the reason Judge Whitaker is not calling a mistrial is because she wants to preserve somebody else in Fulton County's reputation. I just don't see that. I don't see any reason to believe that, actually, rather. Now, maybe, hey, I'm open to be convinced, but I don't see why, though. If I knew, like, for example, Stone, if you and I worked together and I knew you was a shoddy manager, you was a horrible manager, and they moved your team to my team. So why would I got more work now. I got more headaches, more problems, because now they moved your 20 team members over to my team now. So now I got more work, more reviews to write, all that stuff like that, because you're a bad judge. Like, why would I, and let's say some of the team members that you brought over are really bad people. They're horrible. They need to get fired. Why would I not fire them? To preserve the fact that you kept them? Like, I don't understand. So I've heard people say that. And again, I could be wrong. But I just don't see. Oh, what about the teachers? That is a great question. I have not looked into the depths of who tried the Atlanta teacher scandal case, but that would be interesting. I don't think, I'm not trying to be funny. Like, I don't think Hilton was there, because I think Hilton's only been if I'm not mistaken, she's only been in Fulton for like 8 years, and the Atlanta cheating scandal was like 10 years ago. She could have. Now, it's very possible maybe she was a clerk or a first year or something like that, associate. Is possible, but I don't think she was. So I don't know. I would look into that one, though. Look up Challenging Wrongful Convictions Act in New York. I believe that should be a federal act, not just a state act. Really? Yeah, and I've said this before. I don't think that states should be able to bring, or definitely not counties, should be able to bring RICO charges. That should no longer be their prerogative. You cannot do that. It has to be a statewide or federal case. You cannot do that by yourself. Sis Wit is getting some shout outs. I love it. No, I think she's giving her best to save it, because think about it. If the case, let's just pretend that the case goes all the way to conviction or to a jury, and a jury makes a decision. It's done. It's over. It's out of the case. I mean, they can go to appeals or they're free, whatever happens. But if it goes to mistrial, or if it goes to some other shenanigans, she's got to have evidence for why it's a mistrial with prejudice. Because what if she has to do a mistrial without prejudice? They go back to square zero. Now, I do think that Young Thug should be able to sue for wrongful imprisonment, but I digress. Yeah. She's crossing those I's and dotting those T's. So I think that's what it is. All right. Good stuff. Good conversation right here. I think she is. I do think that those two motions, because she said she's going to rule on those two mistrial motions this weekend. Well, friend, we're almost done. Like the weekend's over. We're gonna be ready to dance on tomorrow. Where's these motions? So I think she just hold on to them. I think she just said that, and I don't think that she's gonna actually I don't think she's gonna rule on them. I don't think. Absolutely, Brian. There's a lot of scripture that describes these people. I mean, there's a lot of it. You would think that, hey, y'all probably should stop this. I just don't see it. I hear what y'all are saying, and I'm not just disagreeing to be disagreeable. Roseanne says, Whitaker's covering for Glanville's egregious judicial misconduct. Do not be deceived. I got you. I hear you. I just don't understand why. What would be the reason rationale? Because it would be that egregious. Like we would all be like, what are you doing? Like we know this. We're watching you in 4K do it. I don't know why. Why would she do that? Why would she do that? And I mean, and then everything else that you're saying then would only be speculation. And then that's exactly what Hilton was doing. Hilton was sitting there speculating, Woody says he's in the gang, so therefore he can do that. Like we would be doing the same thing. And I don't think we should do that. If I don't have hard evidence, reason to believe that Paige Whitaker is trying to cover for Glanville, then why would I believe that she's doing that? There's no reason to do that. Now, give me some hard reasons, not just conjecture, because otherwise we sound like Hilton and even sound like Love even a little bit. We got to be like real reasons why that is. Now, if you say, oh yeah, this is real reason, then there we go. And I'll rock with you. No, I agree. I agree. I think one of those mistrial, and I could be wrong. I should look that up. I think one of those mistrials had if you don't give me a mistrial, then you have to give me bond. And I still think she could still go back on that bond motion, but it is what it is though. So she could say, hey, we're not going to declare mistrial, but they can have bond now, $800,000 bond or something like that. Something crazy, but just my thoughts. My thoughts. Her behavior proves it. Hear me. I'm not, look, why does she have to discuss with Glanville? I don't think we're seeing this rightly, but I could be wrong. I just don't see why would she be having to discuss with Glanville? Glanville's no longer the judge on the case. It's over. For him, at least, it's over. He's over here. Him and Jack are doing something else. So why would she need to converse with him? I don't get it. But again, I don't want to just assume something on somebody because that's what they've been doing. They've been assuming things just because they work in the same building together, they got to be in cahoots. Like, where are you getting it from? I don't know. I'm just saying it. Well, what's your rationale for it? Well, they work in the same building. Okay, but what does that mean? Why does that mean that they're in cahoots? That's what I'm saying. And what is it? What's the benefit of it? Because we're watching her shellac. And again, I really disagree with that idea that she's trying to cover for Glanville because she's shellacking Glanville's prosecutors. If that's the case, then wouldn't she be giving Love and Hilton a lot more wiggle room if she's trying to cover for them? Just something to think about. Okay. I mean, I could say, you know what? Again, I told y'all I have friends that got swept up in the Atlanta cheating scandal. I'm a former classroom teacher. I have friends who were caught up in that. I probably would say that they're good. We went to school together, and you know what? They're good people. But you know what? Sure, maybe I misspoke, but because I said that, I'm gonna risk my whole career. I don't think we should. I don't think we should just. We're looking for boogie monsters all over the place. Just take what you're seeing. You're being given a woman who is fighting to keep Stone Love and Hilton held accountable, and not just do any by any means necessary get away with that. Like you see that, accept that. I think Paige Whitaker's doing the right thing, and she is going to let Melnick speak. So there, I mean, if she didn't, if she was caping for or providing cover for the state, would she be giving the state this much business? Would she be harassed? I mean, would she be giving the state this much work? I mean, just you see that. So it's okay to say, you know what, she's probably trying to do the right thing. Okay, and I could be totally wrong. I could be wrong, Tina, about the bond, but I also do believe that this trial is going to move fast. If they get the jury back on Wednesday, we are going to be on hot rails all the way through the summer. Again, like I think we'll be done by November easily, because she's not playing. She's not playing. We're gonna be doing what's that 8:30 to 6 o'clock? That's a long time. But let me see. Let me see. Thank you so much for that comment, by the way. I mean, really, I agree. I agree 100%. I agree with you, Will 2120. 2021, please forgive me. I agree. All right, she was already with some prior case with Woody. Yeah, but so were other people. So was Adrian Love is doing a case with Woody's brother. That's why Adrian Love can't interview Woody. Uh I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, as big as Fulton County is, it's not that big. So it's not the, in my opinion, that's not the smoking gun that you're making it out to be. And there is a level of personal and professional courtesy. As MC says here, I do think that that's the right thing to do, is to just be respectful. Like, hey, this is my coworker. I'm not going to speak anything about them. Just say that they're good people and they did nothing wrong. Bang. That's it. And just keep it moving. Sure, I think that he did something wrong. I can understand why you probably think that he didn't. The world's going to keep going. That's my 2 cents. Okay. I mean, if you want to Academy, then I mean you're gonna see something, you're gonna find something wrong. Okay. I mean, I can't, I'm not gonna try to convince you otherwise. If you feel like, well, because she did not say, she made excuses for the judge, because you do realize that that would look really bad on her if she was dunking on Glanville and she didn't know all the ins and outs and everything that happened, right? So she said, yeah, right. Glanville's a low down, rotten dog, dirty dog. That wouldn't really go well in professionalism. It probably would actually, dare I say, probably be really bad for her to do that. But you do understand that you do make room for the fact that she could probably be just trying to like isolate herself from saying anything that could be a hot take about the former judge and just trying to get this thing on the road. You do give a little bit of grace for that, right? Because that's all I'm saying. Okay, let me see. Got some good conversation right here. The Rico teacher's trial judge was Jerry Baxter. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Pro Academy. I don't know. So okay. I appreciate it though. Thank you so much. Oh, judge gonna make them work. They about to get that work in, and I think that's where the weakness is going to be really truly shown, that they're not ready to work like this. Like she did say that she wants 30 witnesses. Like she wants you to have them lined up so that they can just go bang, 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 and don't have repeat witnesses. Don't have 9 witnesses all saying the same thing. I think at one point, was it the Hertz rental car people? They had like 3 people from the rental car agency, all basically who said the same thing. And she's like, no, you need to have what they call it, cumulative. You can't have cumulative witnesses. You have to have one person, and that's it. If you have a second person, they have to be adding to it something different, not just all saying basically the same thing, because that's not going to work. So I mean, I think it's gonna be wild. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, she knows Woody. Yeah. But I mean, I would hate to think, yeah, I would not. Okay, fine. She knows Woody. We know Woody. So if we ever ran into Woody, would we be able to say, like, again, like there's just, to me, I don't think that it's the right way to approach it. But hey, all right, let's see. And I think this is about it. I am lady. Thank you so much. I do believe she knows more than she claims. I do think she knows now more, but when she came in, I don't think she knew all of this. But that's neither here nor there. She is professionally right to not bash her colleague. That's just it. Like, again, like, you just don't dunk on your former coworker. Some reason or another, my links are not popping up. Sorry about that. All right. All right. I think I got them all. Yeah, I think, see, this is where we really should land right here. Do they have proof that they committed these crimes? That's what's the problem. Or are they prosecuting him because of the fact that he's a gangster, that he's been guilty in the past of these crimes? I think that's much better question. Much better. Because I mean, think about it. Like, why is Young Thug the mastermind of this RICO when all you're talking about are Shane and D and Little D from Mechanicsville and all these other people? How does Young Thug even tie into this? Like, again, it just seems very convoluted. I hope they do get it on track. I really hope they do, because I think it'll make for much better storytelling, if you will, if they are just come in and be like, hey, this is where we are. No more of this ancillary stuff. I don't need the bartender at the compound to come in. I don't need to know about Hertz rental cars. We all know how to rent cars. Like, let's get to some meat. Because if they had meat, we'd have already been munching on it. I don't think they do, and that's where my problem is with that. So it is what it is. Yeah, Rich Homie Quan. What's going on? Shout out to Rich Homie Quan. That name cracks me up. I love it. But yeah, good conversation, y'all. I appreciate you so very much. I want to thank all of you all for the feedback. Thank you, everybody who shoots me an email or join the Discord and all that kind of stuff like that. Members, you will be getting your link to join the Discord shortly. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, everybody who jumped in on my Friday conversation with Phil Holloway. And I'm looking forward to doing more of those this week and definitely in weeks to come. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Y'all, thank you so much. And definitely, I want to say, I really do appreciate each and every one of y'all that watch these videos. Last month, I set a goal of a certain number of views on my channel, and you all crushed it. You guys assaulted it. Okay. It was fantastic. And I really appreciate you all watching the videos, and not just watching them, but commenting. Let me know what you think about it. I have people who tell me that I'm wrong, or people tell me I'm off base. I appreciate that. I appreciate even in the live chat. It means a lot that I want to think. I don't want to just assume that I'm right on everything. And I really do appreciate you all for that. Thank you for everybody who's been checking out the merch store. We're going to be adding new stuff in there as well. Let me make sure that's in the chat. We'll be adding new stuff in there as well. I appreciate it. Thank y'all so much for the support. Thank you so much for all of that. It really does mean a lot. So let us do this. I know that Black law student is going to be doing a live stream. Y'all, oh my gosh. Do y'all know they are doing black churches for Kamala Zoom call today? Y'all, that was so gross. That is so gross. That is so gross. That is the worst. I'm like, y'all play too much. Y'all play too much. If you're new to this channel, I do not believe that churches should do anything political. They should stay out of campaigning, out of politics. That's not the place for them. But they're literally doing that. That was crazy. Oh my gosh. If I get that clip, we will be talking about it. Because it's just, oh my gosh, it's horrible. But I'm sorry, I digress. So I really appreciate y'all. Tomorrow we'll be going live at 8:45, make sure the sound works, all that kind of stuff like that. Make sure everybody's ready. And good gracious, we have no idea what's going to happen. But what I do know is I really appreciate y'all. Thank you, each of y'all. Thank you for the pushback. Thank you for the people that have asked questions, the people that had contrary views. It means a lot. I really mean that. I really do. So I thank y'all so much for this. I'm looking forward to, Lord willing, us doing this again real soon. What are they going to do tomorrow? Tomorrow's going to be crazy. I think this week is going to probably be some fireworks. Let's just say it like that. There's going to be some fireworks tomorrow. Yeah, so this trial is going to be wild. But I thank y'all nonetheless for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. Let's do this again real soon, everybody. So I'll see you, Lord willing, in the morning. And I've already put the link up. I'll put the thumbnail up as well. And then we'll be ready to rock and roll. I'll see you all in the morning, everybody. Grace and peace. Take care. I hit the button and it didn't end. So that means I got to wrap. Oh, there it is right there.